Hi there. My name is George Zhang. I am the co-founder of Leep Foods. At Leep Foods, we grow amazing mushrooms. But don't take my word for it. Take our customers' word for it. We got our start when Danny Wegman tasted our mushrooms at a holiday party and told his head chef, wow, these are delicious. Some of the best mushrooms I've ever tasted. We have to get them into our store. So fast forward to today, we are now in 100 Wegmans locations. And this has given us perspective of seeing the plant-based meat alternative movement pick up steam firsthand. We realize if you take our amazing mushrooms and blend them in with high-quality meat, you will get burgers, sausages, meatballs that taste just as good, if not better, with less of the bad nutrients and more of the good nutrients. Millions of Americans are awakened to the fact that if we continue to eat large amounts of industrially farmed meat, it's not good for our health and definitely not good for our environment. According to a recent IFS survey, 45% of respondents said that they believe plant-based proteins are healthier than animal proteins. But what do you think they would hear if they said that to their doctors and nutritionists? Hey, doctor, I think I'm eating healthier. No, you're not. How are you eating healthier? More sodium, more saturated fat, long list of processed ingredients. How is this healthier? And they wouldn't be alone. According to that same survey, 25% of respondents said that they believe plant-based products as they are today are actually unhealthier compared to animal products. That is the product on the left is the Impossible Burger. 23 ingredients. How many of you would feel comfortable feeding that to your family on a daily basis? That product has 18 grams of saturated fat per serving and 770 milligrams of sodium per serving. Product on the right, that is the Leep Fusion Blended Burger, made with organic grass-fed, grass-finished beef and organic blue oyster mushrooms, along with organic lion's mane mushrooms. We have only 10 grams of saturated fat per serving and only 80 milligrams of sodium per serving. And now you must be thinking, well, George, does it taste good? It's got less fat, it's got less sodium. Does it taste good? Well, believe what our customers are saying on QVC and Thrive. These burgers are delicious. And not only delicious, they're actually better than the grass-fed burgers they're eating today. Imagine that. If you look at the meat industry today, we love meat in America. We love it so much, we spent $102 billion on it. And just the Northeast, we spent $20 billion on it. According to market research, 98% of meat reducers and flexitarians, they're still eating meat. They're just eating less of it. And that category of meat reducers here in the Northeast, that is a $5 billion category. But why are we using mushrooms to mimic the meat experience? Simple. The umami flavor, the meat-like texture from mushrooms, more closely resembles meat protein. More closely resembles meat protein than plant proteins do. So it allows us to mimic the meat experience with fewer ingredients. Now, if you were to look at the mushroom industry as it is today in the US, 95% of the species are buttons and portobellos. These are species that grow exclusively on chicken shit and horse manure. And because of that, they're nutritionally suboptimal. Here at Leep Foods, we grow our mushrooms on pristine sawdust byproducts sourced right here in our Grow New York region in Pittsford. And because we finally control the growth parameters, we exhibit more vitamin D, more vitamin B, and potassium than any other mushrooms in the marketplace. As of today, as of Q1 this year, we were in 100 retail locations with just Wegmans. As of today, we are now in 300 locations between Wegmans, Tops, Green Star, and Dashes. And we will be in 750 stores by next year, currently under NDA and advanced discussions with large New England retailers to get us to that figure. Because of our market traction and momentum from our fresh products, we launched in partnership with Iron Chef Jeffrey Zakarian on QVC a line of blended burgers and blended chicken sausages. In fact, Our chicken sausages did so well, we sold out of 5,000 pounds in 15 minutes. In parallel, we launched our blended burgers on Thrive Market, and their customers loved it so much that we will also be launching our chicken sausages Q1 next year. With this momentum, we are taking our entire line, blended line, to retailers next year as well. If you were to look at our blended fusion chicken sausage compared to the marketplace, there is one product that's doing an amazing job on being plant forward, reducing and getting saturated fat in there, but keeping that amazing, delicious flavor that we all love. However, if you look further, none of these products are making a good source of vitamin D claim. None of them are making a good source of potassium claim. And furthermore, if you ask our thriving QVC customers, just like our burgers, they're saying, we love the nutrition, but guess what, Leep Foods? This flavor is out of this world. We have been hard at work at our Rochester facility, at our 5,000 square foot pilot facility, perfecting the science of solid state fermentation. Put that simply, fermentation is a process of taking waste carbon, taking fungal microorganisms to eat those byproducts, to turn them into higher value protein, fiber, and micronutrients. We are growing species like shiitake, lion's mane, blue oyster, maitake, king trumpet, and we're doing that all in the same facility at organic scale, at large quantities. That is a hard process, and we've been doing that for the last 5 years. That is our technology. It's important for me to emphasize, mushrooms are what they eat. There are a lot of shiitakes and specialty mushrooms grown around the world, grown without concern of the integrity of the substrate. And the results are contaminated or subpar mushrooms. Because we are here in the Finger Lakes, in our Grow New York region, we are able to draw from a plethora of pristine byproducts. And as we scale and source more and more of these byproducts, that is generating more economic benefit to the agribusiness producers and diverting waste from landfills. Furthermore, in order to ensure we're launching the best blended meat products in the marketplace, we are already partnering with prestigious USDA certified meat co-packers right here in our Grow New York region. We have a highly experienced team, from growing amazing mushrooms to knowing how to improve the process of growing these organic mushrooms at scale, to get to economies of scale. We know how to get products onto shelf, but most importantly, we know how to get products to sell through to customers. Right now, we have 10 jobs right here at our facility in Rochester. We will hit cash flow break even by Q1 next year, and we will hit 11.3 million in revenue by 2023, or equivalent of 2 million pounds of mushrooms sold. To hit that figure, we will need to have 103 jobs in 2023. If we win first place, that $1 million prize will allow us to add an additional 22 jobs, launch 2 additional mushroom species, and add 2 value-added products. Because of this increased demand, we will also need to create and build out a new Leep facility right here in our region. Q1 break even is a big milestone for us. That will give us the financial stability to focus on our blended meats product line and to launch our value-added products into the health and wellness category with strategic partnerships. And wait for it, we're launching a new mushroom snack. So that's super exciting. In the near future, we will also be one of the first mushroom brands, if not the first, to become regenerative organic certified in partnership with the Rodell Institute, who we are in active discussions with. And we will be close on our New York State grown and certified status. In summary, at Leep Foods, we grow amazing mushrooms. We've tripled our footprint this year, and between our fresh and blended and future value-added product lines, we are on a significant growth trajectory. The vision for Leep was to elevate the mushroom industry. More delicious, more nutritious, greater varieties made more accessible, with no risk of heavy metal contamination and no risk of nutritional deficiencies. Our vision for the future of food is more of the good stuff and less of the bad stuff. And we would be doing that right here in our Grow New York region. Thank you for your time.
The Bear Lake. Excellent job, Leep Foods. Okay, George and Jeff, you have 10 minutes of Q&A with the judge panel now. And Zoe, I think you might have a few questions for Leep Foods.
I do. So good evening, wherever you are. It's a pleasure to be introduced to you. So I work in, consumer packaged goods. I've been in CPG about 15 years, most recently with Chobani, and prior to that at a couple of venture funds. So I've seen a lot of the interest in mushrooms over the last, call it 3 to kind of 5 years. I have a litany of questions for you, but I'm just going to ask the first one, which is, your focus is on a lot of different subcategories of consumer. You have your fresh mushrooms that you package and sell in the produce section. You have, this notion of blending mushrooms into things that traditionally have an incredibly low profit margin. So sausages, meat, burger blends, stuff like that. And now you also want to go into snacks. So the first part of my question is, did you want to do all these different things? Or are you planning on sort of focusing because, each of these subcategories is so big, it's a big category to kind of bite off and chew on, so to speak. And then my second part of that question is, is there a reason why you want to be a branded consumer business as opposed to an ingredient manufacturer and be the white labeler behind the other folks who have to spend millions of dollars on trade spend and marketing and things like that? Why have you chosen to go branded consumer if your experience isn't growing?
Great question. I will do my best to answer all of the different parts. First off, I think right now where we're at is that this makes it easy for us because we are going out into different brands to be a diversified a company. Most of this has all been from the premise of we wanted to sell fresh mushrooms, and we've had partners come up to us that want to be involved in that. So if I take a look at the blended products and all that, these are people that have said we should partner up because we have an opportunity for you. So I don't look at as having diverse products at this point I think that actually is going to help us as we move forward. And it's going to be careful. I mean, we have to be extremely careful. We do sell fresh mushrooms, and that's right now we are doing very well with that. And we believe that the blended products will be next. And at some point, we have been asked, and we've had inquiries about doing snacks with mushrooms. So yeah, we're good with that. The second part of your question was
was it the CPG brand versus white label? And
go ahead. Yeah,
I'll take that. Zoe, it's a question that we have been asking ourselves for constantly day to day for the last couple of years of what's the beachhead product market fit? How do you find something that you can gain traction in and then build out? If you look at our technology and where our EBITDA and our profit margin comes from, it comes from being able to grow amazing mushrooms at scale. And so at the end of the day, we are an ingredient manufacturer, right? And the only reason we decided to go with our own branded fusion sausage and our own brand of fresh is because we needed to get early market traction to prove to the marketplace, hey, there's demand for the future of elevated mushrooms. But at scale, we want to partner with other companies.
Great. So thanks, Zoe. And Andrew, I think you're up second.
Indeed. This is exciting. I really liked your website, liked your marketing. Everything about you guys really speaks of success. So congratulations and all that. The questions I have revolve around your substrates that you're using. Obviously, the species you have are hardwood types of mushrooms. You indicated that if with the $1 million prize, you might introduce 2 more species, and I would assume that you're going to continue along with the hardwoods rather than using traditional substrates. Now, in terms of your substrates, are you offloading that? Does a secondary company provide those substrates into the sterilization for you? Is that something you guys do in-house? Talk through that piece of the equation. I think a lot of people don't understand how important the substrates are versus the production side.
Andrew, that's like music to my ears. I always geek out when I get to talk about substrate and technology. So if you look at, this is the unsexy part of our industry, but it's so critical. It's the supply chain substrate management portion. And when I say we've tested substrates and hardwoods from around the world, and we particularly have tested in our region we know that our region has a statistically significant lower risk of heavy metal contamination, which is one of the albatrosses or elephants in the room as our industry begins to become more prominent with more demand in the future. And we're looking at various hardwoods. We're not locked into one specific, but our 5 years of growing experience has shown us that we know how to mix and match different sources for optimal protein and or growth yield. And we are also working with the brewery industry to supplement a brewer's waste as additional sources of protein, and being able to work with brewer's waste that goes bad really quickly and that wants to ferment in species that we don't want it to, but being able to do that at scale, and that's where our technology on the R&D side has been for the last year or so. And as we scale that, we're going to see both brewer's waste and hardwoods in our region becoming really prominent. I hope that answers your question.
It does, and I do have a follow-on question as well. The American Mushroom Institute obviously is the gatekeeper for a lot of distribution around the country. And when I went to their website, I didn't see you listed in there as an associate member. Have you been in conversations with them? Is this a tactical decision not to join with them if you haven't, and I just missed you in the list there?
No, it's definitely a tactical reason. First things first for us has been to how do we keep the lights on? How do we build our go-to-market and get our company to a place where we can hit cash flow break even? And then with that financial stability, the world is our oyster, right? And so both Jeff comes from a long line of decades of CPG growth experience, and being good fiduciary operators of the company has been really critical. But now that we've found what we believe, what the market's shown us is a viable product market fit in our blended line, we are going to be actively partnering with the community of other growers so we can share some of the burden of the evangelism of, hey, look, mushrooms aren't just buttons and portobellos, and there's a lot more that this kingdom can offer to the health and wellness of consumers of the future.
I agree. That is all I have for questions, because I know some other judges want to jump in here as well.
Thanks, Andrew. Laura Peterson, a few questions for George and Jeff.
Yeah, I just have a simple one about the price point. You've got regular beef, you've got the Beyond Burger plant-based meat, and then we've got your mixture. Where do you fit in that price point?
Great question.
Excellent question.
Excellent. You want this one or you want me to take it?
No, go ahead, George, and I'll fill in if we need to.
Right. So as I'm sure anyone that has studied this category has found, is that the plant-based products as they are price premium. And that's one of the biggest hurdles for this market, the subcategory, to gain more and more market share. Our grass-fed is priced at the same price as the Impossible Burger or the other grass-fed burgers as they are today. We have been approached by large meat co-packers that are not in the grass-fed category, but that are in the CAB category, that would like to use our mushrooms to blend as well. Those will have about $1.50 lower price range at MSRP. And as we scale that, the price point is going to be more and more competitive in the premium, but not overly premium category.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much. Mary, do you have time? We have time for one more question, I think. Why don't you jump in, Mary Shulman?
Oh, yeah, sure. So thanks. I just wanted to come back to Zoe's question because I wasn't quite sure about the answer to it. And that was this question about, are you doing too much? I mean, clearly you're a young company, you have limited resources, and by spending it all in, seems like a lot in product development as opposed to selling more, it just strikes me as an interesting conversation. So I wanted to hit that one again.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll reiterate on what Jeff said. The only product line that we are really dedicating resources internally on marketing is our blended chicken line. The Thrive partnership particularly, that's a private label. We didn't have time to mention it, but they wanted to bring it in private label. There's a lot of other retailers where the private label route is most likely where we go. And that is where our business model has been proven to work, is because we're not we're not sourcing the mushrooms anywhere else. We make money off growing the mushrooms. The health and wellness categories, the snacks, all those are looking at strategic partnerships. If we don't have to dedicate the marketing resources to scale those up, we don't want to, because we're really good at growing the mushrooms, and we know there's a lot of other people that want to build brands around these mushrooms.
Great
Very
job,
good. Yeah,
guys.
very good.
Nailed it right at 10 minutes. Thank you so much, judges. Thank you, Leep Foods.